I've moved 5 times since college, and with each move, I have sought out the advice from a local realtor. They provided important insights into neighborhoods, housing trends, home prices. Every time they've taken a genuine self-interest in my family's well-being. In fact, I'm still friends with almost all of them and their families, even years later. Our interaction typically begins with a series of questions. What are you looking for in a home? Are there any specific locations that you have in mind? Are you pre-approved for a loan? How much are you looking to spend? With this information, then, a realtor is prepared to make recommendations and offer advice, usually based somewhat on the dollar amount a buyer wants to spend. Too often, in this scenario, what can you afford replaces what do you actually need as the starting point for most home buyers. Rarely do people begin the home buying experience with a list of needs alone. Instead, they come armed with a pre-approved dollar amount set by the bank on how much they can afford to pay every month. This rationale has gotten us into deep housing problems on both a macro and microeconomic level. The housing market today in the US is the least affordable it has ever been. So if you're in the market to purchase a home, I want to offer you the most important piece of home buying advice you'll ever hear. And here it is. Buy only the home you need, not the house you can afford. Too often, when people begin the home buying experience, the mantra of our society comes calling: buy as big and as much as possible. It seems whatever dollar amount the financial institution has approved to spend on a home becomes the price range that they begin searching in, usually choosing a home at the upper limit of the range. For example, if, based on an income, a buyer is pre-approved for a $500,000 loan, most buyers will begin searching for the biggest house they can find for $500,000. This thinking can be encouraged by the realtor, the financial institution, and even appeal to the buyer. Buyers soon create a list of wants for their new home, while actual need is quickly released from the formula. Once you tour a $500,000 home, it's really difficult to be content buying a $300,000 one. In purchasing homes, we are told repeatedly, in both subtle and not so subtle ways, that bigger and more is better. And so as a result, the average American home has tripled in size in the last 50 years, all while the average family size living in those homes has gotten smaller. With little regard for the negative consequences, buyers continue to purchase bigger and bigger homes, whatever size their income allows. But the impact of this thinking has detrimental effects on our well-being. We typically use only 40% of our living space with any regularity. Meanwhile, the increased debt contributes to mental and emotional distress. And the excess space carries additional financial costs, whether we're using the square footage or not. More is not always better. There are actually some fabulous benefits to living in a smaller home. A smaller home is easier to maintain, it's less expensive, it assumes less financial risk, it results in less environmental impact, and it frees up our resources to pursue other passions in life. We made the mistake of buying bigger and bigger houses with each pay increase during the first decade of our marriage. It wasn't until I was introduced to the benefits of minimalism that we eventually downsized into a smaller home, a decision we have never regretted. Buying a home is a very personal decision that weighs a large number of factors, no doubt, and only you know all the variables that come into play when making that decision. But too often, the most important piece of buying advice is the one we never hear. Buy only the home you need, not the house you can afford.